The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching!
Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on Sports.
We welcome you to hour number 2, bright and early on this Monday morning to kick off a new week on the Early Line on SportsGrid. He is Donnie Rightside. I am Ben Stevens. 2 more hours to go up until 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Plenty of breakdowns and previews of our playoff action coming your way throughout these next 2 hours. We've got a doubleheader around the association tonight. First game inside Madison Square Garden. It is game number 4. The Knicks still holding a 2-1 series lead, but it's not looking great. Did Boston make their statement on Saturday that they are now back in pole position despite trailing in the series to win this second round set rather comfortably? Game number 4 as well by the Bay. The Timberwolves up 2-1 over the Warriors without Steph Curry. Is it just too much for Golden State to overcome? We'll talk some NHL playoff action in the Stanley Cup postseason with TV Tom Vecchio later on in the second hour as well. MLB recaps from the weekend. But DRS, it's a big week once again in football. Schedule release week around the National Football League. Full schedule for all 32 clubs comes out on Wednesday. That is May 14th. But we're starting to get it trickle out ever so slightly with some marquee matchups released each and every day in these early morning hours until the full schedule is out on Wednesday, including a big one on this Monday morning for the reigning Super Bowl champion Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, it's a good time, man, because we're close again to football season. We're almost to mid-May right now, which turns into June, July, and then we're in the preseason and ready to go. And I continue to say, this feels like just yesterday we were talking about the Super Bowl between the Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs, and now we're talking about already regular season football and getting excited to do that, which is fantastic. And we do have an epic game that we will talk about in just a few moments, but there is a Major League Baseball card today. We're getting into the month of May here. The Northeast now finally turning the corner, it looks like, with the heat and humidity that are allowed to get in those ballparks to let those supercharged baseballs knock into the seats. I'm excited. Big NBA card tonight, and away we go here. Let's do it.
Big NBA card tonight, DRS. Also a big night for the future of the NBA. The Cooper Flag Sweepstakes. We will know it tonight. May the ping pong balls bounce in your favor. It is the NBA Draft Lottery on this Monday evening. We'll look at the chances, the odds to land that first overall pick, and presumably Cooper Flag in late June next month for the 2025 NBA draft. But we start DRS with the big news around the National Football League in terms of that schedule release bright and early on this Monday. We know how the reigning Super Bowl champs will begin their championship defense. We know how the 2025 NFL season will begin its season debut Thursday night, September 4th, 115 days from now, inside Lincoln Financial Field. The Eagles will host their bitter foes and divisional rivals in the Dallas Cowboys. Game number 1 of the 2025 NFL season. Eagles, Cowboys in Philadelphia to hang a banner.
Yeah, the Eagles, the NFL, I mean, just real devious right now, and I absolutely love it because the thought process for me was we never got the matchup last year for the Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles, which should have been in Detroit NFC Championship game, but the Lions weren't good enough to beat the Washington Commanders, which the Eagles absolutely throttled the Commanders and then absolutely took apart the Kansas City Chiefs, which you love. But now the joke's always, too, like the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, look at all the Lombardis. Like, nobody remembers them. Like, you had a VHS tape, and was cable TV even around when Dallas was winning football games, which is the funny part about it. And now the celebration of the Lombardi Trophy, which is exactly what opening night is against the Dallas Cowboys that can't win anything since the mid-1990s or even show up in an NFC championship game. So I do think the deviousness by the NFL, regardless of any team that was going to show up on a Thursday to open the season, the ratings will be monstrous. But now you have the whole Eagles fan base glomming onto this, laughing at the Cowboys for never winning anything. And then the trophy presentation before the game, the banner drop, the world champion Eagles, and then the Eagles are going to blow out the Dallas Cowboys to open up the season. What a great night it's going to be on that Thursday, Ben. I'm looking forward to that.
And DRS, we are expecting a blowout for your Birds. The early odds for week number 1 in the first regular season game of 2025. Yeah. Philadelphia, a 6.5-point home favorite inside the link. The over-under stands at 46.5. Donnie, we talked last week about the first offseason bet in the NFL I made already. Dallas Cowboys over their win total of 7.5. When I made that bet at even money plus 100, now minus 135 to the over. I am not expecting one of those hopeful 8 wins for Dallas coming in week number 1. But I do think that 6.5-point spread is kind of evident of what we are expecting out of the Cowboys this year. And that's not expecting all that much. Again, as Donnie is making his jokes, and correctly so, I would never bet Donnie's money, my worst enemy's money on the Cowboys winning the NFC Championship or a Super Bowl Lombardi Trophy entering 2025. But they have been in large part when Dak Prescott is nearly fully healthy or playing at least 12 games, a great regular season team. So to be catching 6.5 in their season debut, I think it goes to show we're not expecting all that much out of Dallas in its debut year under a new head coach in Brian Schottenheimer.
I got to tell you, some other outlets at 7s, FanDuel at 6.5. I was actually surprised to see that because it wouldn't have shocked me for that line to be 4.5 in that range, maybe 5.5 at the most, but close to a touchdown. We'll see where it goes. And again, teams are still going to fill out their rosters. Injuries are going to happen in the preseason. We get that. But it is a big advantage, night number 1, to be in your own building, which you saw last year. The Philadelphia Eagles on road night number 1 for them was a Friday night in Brazil, which I was furious because that game should have been played in Philadelphia against the Green Bay Packers, which the Eagles won on an absolute ice skating rink and got lucky to do that on their way to a Super Bowl. Now, this one will set the tone for the season right off of the bat. I expect the Cowboys to have a good season. I expect the Commanders to have a good season. I expect the Eagles to have a good season. And maybe the Giants can be competitive as long as they get 4+ wins next year and figure out their quarterback situation. But you talk about the Dallas Cowboys coming into Philadelphia to open the season and getting a win over the Super Bowl champions, that could set the stage for a big Dallas performance. But as you said, Dallas is expected to lose. Nobody's going to look at their ticket like, man, well, you knew they were going to play the Eagles in Philadelphia. You just didn't know when. Now it's the first game here. That happens. But also understand this. I love it from a perspective of getting the opening game. Both teams come in Ben rested. It's not a true Thursday night football game. Which, look at Dallas had to play on the road on a Thursday. This is what the NFL does. They always help the Dallas Cowboys because you play on a Thursday night. Check that box where you don't have to go on the road and do it. It's not a real Thursday night football game, but also you get the mini bye built into week number 2. So the Dallas Cowboys, again, fantastic schedule, and the NFL did them a favor by saying, you'll probably lose game number 1, but we won't put you behind the 8 ball by playing a true Thursday night game. And when you do lose that game, you get a week and a half off to be rested and ready to get extra prep time on week number 2. Bam! NFL helping the Cowboys. tale as old as time.
That's a true Birds backer right there.
Yeah.
That is breaking down and detailing the season opener and still make sure that the Cowboys always have the NFL in their favor. DRS, plenty of big news this weekend around the National Football League. We'll continue this conversation on the other side of the break, but a rather shocking report on Saturday morning and then confirmed just a couple of hours after that. Derek Carr has announced his retirement from the National Football League. After 11 years in the NFL, the first 9 of that career with the Raiders organization, first in Oakland and then in Las Vegas, and with the New Orleans Saints the previous 2 seasons, at the age of 34, Derek Carr is calling it a career. There was some interesting reporting around shoulder injury for Carr over this offseason, putting his 2025 status very much in doubt. That is the reason he is retiring. A degenerative shoulder rotator cuff, making his ability to throw a football, first and foremost for a quarterback, incredibly difficult. So the health concerns for Derek Carr, the reason he is calling it a career after more than a decade in the National Football League.
Yeah, it is interesting, too, because I don't know the details of the contract itself, but usually when you're under contract, you can get away with hey, look, I don't know if I'm going to retire yet, but I'm going to play this season technically in rehab and get that big paycheck. And then the following season, if I can't play, then I'll retire, but I get another year. There's something might be going on behind the scenes here. While you announce the retirement while you're injured?
Very true, DRS. We'll discuss what it means for the Saints next.
Vegas knows how to show love to our everyday heroes. So if you're a first responder, you are in for some perks. Lots of hotels and casino offer big discounts to any first responders who can show valid work or volunteer ID. So treat yourself to a discounted stay. You deserve it. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid. The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that rim. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple of 15.5-point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. That's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The stunning news early on a Saturday morning. Derek Carr has called it a career. After 11 NFL seasons and these previous 2 in the Big Easy with the Saints, Carr has called it quits on his career, dealing with a shoulder injury to his throwing shoulder that is too much to overcome at this moment. DRS, you mentioned what it means for New Orleans. We'll look at the odds shift in just a moment. We'll tie a bow on what Carr's career meant in the National Football League for more than the previous decade as well. From a contract perspective, For an organization in the Saints that has basically been in cap hell, cap purgatory for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 NFL seasons, does it help them financially for Derek Carr to retire at this stage of the offseason? I believe so. There was some interesting reporting that it will save the Saints some money based on the $20 million of a cap hit that Derek Carr has this offseason, but he is still going to be owed money for 2025 and beyond. He is under contract through 2027 with New Orleans, but following next season at the end of 2026, at least based on the way the deal is structured prior to the retirement, he is no longer on the books at the end of next year. Should help them financially. What exactly the financial ramifications are for a Saints team that desperately needs some better cash flow and financial flexibility, still kind of a head scratcher at this moment.
Yeah, it is. And also, we don't know the outcomes of why he was injured, how he got injured. I don't think they're going into those details all that much, but it sort of caught the Saints, I guess, by surprise. But I think they knew before the draft that they had to make a move at this point. And by the way, Derek Carr did have a pretty good career, made as many Pro Bowls as Eli Manning. So based on that, he should go to the Hall of Fame like Eli Manning. Well, Eli Manning does have a couple rings at that point, but always wanted to take a shot at Manning, who should not actually be in the Hall of Fame, shouldn't be questioned, an under 500 quarterback for his career. Stop the madness. But let's get back here to Derek Carr. You take a look at this, like where we were supposed to be with him with the Raiders was an up-and-coming team, and all of a sudden it didn't work out. Then you go to Vegas, you add a couple weapons, Josh Jacobs in the backfield, you get your boy, at wide receiver, Devontae Adams, and it was like, hey, this could work out after 1 year. They threw him aside. Then he goes to New Orleans. I go, whoa, Ben, this team is the best team in the division that actually got a quarterback that can throw the football. They should win down there. And they didn't win down there. So it's a talented quarterback who got a lot of mileage out of it. And you see that 41,000 total passing yards in his career, prematurely ends his career, but had a solid career. But those expectations to be the guy to lead a team and take them over the top, he just wasn't able to do that.
Yeah, and DRS, you see the numbers there for Derek Carr, 41,245 yards, 257 passing touchdowns in his 11-year NFL career. The passing yardage, more than 41,000, 22nd most of a quarterback in NFL history, an indication of the era that Derek Carr played in. The fact that you could put up the stats but did not really have the playoff results or any of the team success to back it up. Not all on him by any means, and there was certainly some optimism early on in his career in Oakland. 3 of those 4 Pro Bowl seasons came in his first 4 years in the league. Not his rookie season after being a second-round pick out of Fresno State, but in the next 3 years. His 4th Pro Bowl year was actually, oddly and awkwardly enough, his final year, 2022, in Las Vegas, in which Devontae Adams demanded the trade from Green Bay to play with his college buddy and his college quarterback, only to see Carr shipped out and ousted from the organization after 15 games. Also, one of the reasons that Carr put up so many stats and so many statistical numbers, he was relatively healthy. He played at least 10 games in all 11 of his NFL seasons. But last year, DRS, only 10 games, dealing not with a shoulder injury. It was not like he suffered this shoulder injury in 2024, but a hand and groin injury that kept him out from many games. Every other year, the previous and first 10 years of his career, he played at least 15 games in the National Football League. He was a guy that battled through injury and played a lot. So that's the career of Derek Carr. What does it mean now for New Orleans? 40th overall pick this past April in the early portion of the second round. The veteran quarterback, after 7 years playing collegiately out of Louisville, Tyler Shuck, who is now the hefty odds-on favorite, DRS, at a -186 number, courtesy of our friends at the Canadian FanDuel Sportsbook, to be the Week 1 starter in the Big Easy under a rookie head coach in Kellen Moore. But it really seems like a season reset in 2025 for the Saints. Earlier this offseason, win total opened at 7.5. Under had the juice. Prior to the news on Derek Carr, with some questions around his status based on that shoulder issue for 2025, win total dropped to 6.5. And then after the news around Carr's retirement, win total currently for New Orleans, 5.5, even juice on both sides, -110 to the over, -110 to the under. What is your outlook, DRS, for the Saints in 2025?
Rebuild at this point, right? You think you got your future quarterback right here. You got your future head coach. You're both young. You can grow together over the next 5 to 6 years, start to make it. So it's like, you know what? We're a perennial playoff contender. But it just tells you there I don't care about the Super Bowl odds. Just look at the conference odds, right? New Orleans Saints are 120-1. That's dead last year. That's behind the New York Giants. And just to put this in perspective from your own division, the Carolina Panthers, Ben, are 46-1 to win the NFC conference this year. So it just shows you the expectations are extremely low. We knew coming into the season there's going to be a lot of cap casualties and a lot of issues with that roster. You get your new head coach, but also if you are the general manager and the head coach working on the same page, you knew this coming in, right? Hey, Kellen, great offensive coordinator. You just won a Super Bowl. You've had some success in this league. Let's build for the future long term. Let's put the foundation in here in 2025, and we'll see what we have after that, including if we got our franchise quarterback or not. No pressure in New Orleans this season. They're going to be bad. I think they understand that they're going to be bad as well.
Now 5 teams, DRS, including these Saints, after the injury news around Derek Carr, that have a win total entering 2025 at just 5.5. It is the lowest number, but based on the juice, that's how you find the difference. Both the Browns and the Giants heavily juiced to the under of 5.5 at -140. The Titans and the New York Jets, both at 5.5. The over has the juice, even juice on both sides. For the Saints, it is Tyler Shuck's show now in the Big Easy under a rookie head coach in Kellen Moore. Second-round draft pick, Tyler Shuck. Now it is his team. He will be 26, by the way, by the time we get to the middle of September. A rookie QB, not a young and inexperienced QB, at least based on his collegiate playing days. MLB headlines from the weekend that was. Up next here on the Early Line.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
He's rearranging that ring. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
Just a little flyer, couple of 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15-19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds. Reds are a really fun team. Reds are, we're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro Baseball Today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We start our recap of the Major League Baseball weekend with a round of applause. Because for only the 7th time in 40 games this year, the Colorado Rockies get a win, hammering pitching Nick Pivetta of the San Diego Padres in their series finale yesterday at Coors Field, 9-3. And despite win number 7, a 7-33 record for the Rocks, which led to a change on Sunday afternoon. Bud Black in his 9th year in Colorado as the winningest manager in franchise history, 554 wins, fired yesterday by the Rockies amid a dismal and historically bad start for Colorado. DRS, we talked about Derek Shelton getting canned by the Pirates late last week, kind of a scapegoat for it. It kind of seems that's the same story for Bud Black here in Denver.
Yeah, Dave Roberts was quoted yesterday saying, I don't think Casey Stengel could change the outcome of that ball club. That's not the manager's fault. And he's absolutely right. So let's understand in a one-week process where we started the season just about a month ago, Pittsburgh, hey, manager, making a move, man. We need better out of you. And he goes, yeah, you give me the worst lineup in baseball. What am I supposed to do? Same thing out in Colorado. Hey, man, got to let you go. Maybe another manager gets in here and changes things up. No, the players need to change things up, and the ownership group and the general manager need to change things up. But we understand in the professional business, you are hired to be fired. You got 9 years out of there. The guy in Pittsburgh, 5 to 6 years as well. Nothing was going to change. Just enjoy your paycheck. You know it's never going to turn into big wins for you, and then you'll be let go as the scapegoat like, hey, it was your fault. Not the ownership or the general manager's fault that built that horrendous baseball team around for you to coach them.
Yeah, DRS, Bud Black is a baseball lifer, as we well know. 544 and 690. His overall career record in Colorado, this was his 9th season. The Rockies haven't been the longest-standing franchise in a sport with a ton of history, more than 30 years now for the Rockies in Colorado. So when you're there nearly as the manager for a third of the time, even when you're well below 500 with 544 victories, that's how you get to be the winningest manager in franchise history. This was making its rounds on Saturday after the Rockies dropped to 6-33. Of course, last year the White Sox set Major League Baseball history in the worst way possible as the worst franchise, the worst record in MLB history, 41-121. The White Sox threw 39 games a season ago, 11-28, which is awful, with a negative run differential of -85. The Rockies win number 7 on Sunday, but through Saturday evening, DRS, 6-33 through 39 games in a run differential of -134. The Rockies have the chance of becoming relevant in the way of being so historically bad. They are well on pace to even outdo the White Sox, who had 121 losses a season ago.
Yeah, and you take a look at the roster. There's not even a superstar, a young super, like Tolley is a decent player, McMahon, but outside of that, they're not even building for anything. And I understand this, too. It's like your worst-case scenario, like when you show up on draft night in the NFL, like, yeah, sometimes you got to go to a city that you might not want to go to. But the infrastructure is there, and you're hoping in a couple years you might be good. Imagine being a Major League Baseball pitcher, like let's just say like a Steven Strasburg comes out in the draft, and he goes to Washington, has a great career, wins a World Series, phenomenal. Imagine he gets drafted to Colorado, and it's like, I'm going to have a 5 ERA my whole career. I just can't wait to get out of here. Or Paul Skeens that goes to Pittsburgh, who's terrible, but at least he can line up on the mound every 5th day and go, yeah, I pitch in a pitcher's ballpark. This should be fun. Imagine being on that dreck of a team and being a pitcher knowing that, hey, let's get the free agency. And they go, well, who's going to want you in your 6 ERA out of the bullpen, which isn't your fault? Baseball doesn't work in Colorado. It just doesn't. And you take a look at the team that's on the field now, this is a major market that can't attract talent because who wants to go there, particularly as a pitcher? Nobody.
It's a good point, DRS. Other news around MLB yesterday. Sunday Night Baseball, the Phils in the land against the Guardians. Dominant performance out of Zach Wheeler. 7 innings of shutout work. The Phillies blanked the Guardians. They win the final 2 games of the series, including the rubber match last night. Kyle Schwarber, 2 home runs. 2 home runs for Aaron Judge on Saturday. Those two, Schwarbaum and Judge, leading MLB right now with 14. Aaron Judge yesterday, 4 or 5 at the dish for the Yankees. His average back over 400 DRS.
Yeah, imagine if he played every single game in Sacramento. By the way, is he from Sacramento? Played his baseball in college in Sacramento? Probably loves that area here. Knows the heat and humidity out there in the environment. Yeah. So there you go.
Played baseball at Fresno. Anyway,
Yeah. Hey, look.
Oh. That's all you have to say. All right, 12-2 victory for the Yanks yesterday against the Athletics as well. The hottest teams in baseball, both from the Central Divisions in the American League. It's the Twins. In the National League, it's the Redbirds. Both the Cardinals and the Twins extend their win streaks to 8 straight yesterday. It's the draft lottery in the NBA tonight. We'll break it down next.
New to social casinos? You're in for a treat. Most online casinos offer bonus cash or coins just for signing up. That's your own little participation trophy. Now, go get lucky. See you in Las Vegas. Let's get lucky.
The game is on. The stakes are high. But the action isn't just on the field.
Rearranging that roof. Get it inside!
SportsGrid's in-game live. Your ultimate second screen experience.
A little flyer, couple 15.5 point live line.
Every prop, every play, every day.
Anything can happen. It's complete chaos.
It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Dr. Dre said at one time here, James Wood, always up to no good, man. I like a couple players in that lineup, man, on a day-to-day basis can really get after it. Again, playing good baseball, 15 and 19 overall. We'll see how they pursue.
The Reds are a really fun team. We're going to talk about them a ton, and I don't think they'll compete for a wild card. But again, they're a team like the Nats where they're going to give other teams trouble at times, and they can't overlook that matchup. Cubs win the division, as we all expected.
Pro baseball today, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they played. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
The future of the NBA will forever be changed tonight. It is the NBA Draft Lottery, which means the ping pong balls will be bouncing. In whose favor will those ping pong balls be decided on tonight in the Cooper Flag Sweepstakes? The generational talent after a historic freshman season with the Duke Blue Devils. He is the presumed #1 overall pick. The odds weirdly not out just yet. They'd probably be like minus 20,000, but still, Cooper Flag atop a very talent-rich NBA lottery. It will all be shaped tonight where exactly the first 14 selections for next month's 2025 NBA draft will look like. DRS, as we know, kind of the anti-tanking formula in the NBA. If you finish with one of the 3 worst records in the NBA in a regular season, you own the best shot, but not at 35%, at 14% to have that #1 overall pick, and then it breaks down from there. So here are the odds matched up with the odds to have that first overall selection on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Jazz, Wizards, Hornets, all at 14% and a plus 550 ticket. Pels have the 4th best chance at 12.5 and a 6-1 number. And then the one that Donnie is focused on tonight, the Philadelphia 76ers are 5th and final team with better than a 10% chance to earn that #1 overall selection and a plus 750 price. It is the way to save Donnie Right-Side's regular season referendum. The Rockets already blew it, but if the Philadelphia 76ers end up with Cooper Flag in the first overall pick, Donnie will once again pay attention to the regular season in the NBA.
It looks like a craps table right there, right? With the odds. Like you got the Jazz, the Wizards, and the Hornets, like the 6 and the 8. You got the Pelicans and the Sixers, like the 5 and 9, and the Nets and the Raptors down there at the 4 and 10s right now. But by the way, NBA, like I do knock the NBA a lot for what they do. This is a sound move by them because tanking organizations should not be rewarded automatically with the first overall pick. Like, you shouldn't get credit for doing that. Now, if you want to tank your organization just to get into the lottery with a chance to get a #1 and then wind up with the 5th overall pick, well, that's what you do to yourself. And I understand teams are still going to tank because that's the only way to get a top draft pick, have as much percentages as you can go. But it's not as if it's like, hey, Ben, the top 3 teams, 25% apiece, and the rest just get slivers out there. Like, you have a legitimate chance, which is why, for me, being a Sixers fan, you go, well, you're 5th in the odds. There's no chance you can get that. But look at the odds. Plus 550 is the favorite. Plus 750 is the Sixers. You are right there. Now, still, it would be a mild upset, but not like, whoa, we have a 1% chance to get the #1 overall pick. good on the NBA for doing this, and changes to the NBA will happen tonight. The Cooper Flag is supposed to be one of those ultra-talented, maybe generational-type basketball players to change the franchise. Now, here's where I go on my slander at this point, and rightfully so.
Please.
He's going to the Jazz? Nobody wants to go to the Jazz. Nobody watches Jazz. Nobody gives a damn about the Jazz. The Jazz were about like the Karl Malone, John Stockton, booty shorts that they wore 25 years ago. Irrelevant franchise since then. You take a look at the Wizards, the most irrelevant sports franchise in the history of professional sports in the United States. Nothing can rescue them. The Hornets were tainted by Michael Jordan, ruining that franchise up, and since they came into the league, they've done absolutely nothing. The Pelicans, you saw what they did with Zion. Cooper Flag goes there, he gets a knee injury, gains 65 pounds, and we don't see him again. He needs to be in Philadelphia. The only way the NBA can increase ratings next year for the regular season is bring the Sixers back into the tent, and that would exactly do that. The Nets, what? Come on now. The Knicks are New York's franchise. The Raptors, they're not even American. They're in Canada at this point. The Sixers are the only team we need right now for Cooper Flag, and I think most people would agree with that.
Did Donnie just skew the ping pong balls? Are they now more heavily weighted to the Philadelphia 76ers? DRS, I'm not a conspiracy theorist, much like you, my friend. But if you did have a conspiracy at times for the NBA draft lottery, the fact it is not a televised event for everything that we see to determine where the ping pong balls actually go, unlike how the NHL does it just a few weeks ago, it does allow, it does allow the mind to get out there a little bit, right? To think of all that could be happening behind closed doors, if especially it ends up going the way of the Philadelphia 76ers. In the anti-tanking formula of having the three worst teams all with an equal shake at 14%, in 4 of the previous 5 years, at least one of those 3 teams that had a 14% shot to earn the number 1 overall pick, one of those 3 did end up in getting that first overall selection, but this can be rather random. As we saw last year, the Atlanta Hawks, only a 3% chance to earn that first overall pick, did do so. They selected Zachary Rizache out of France. Oof. How the Hawks would have loved that random chance this year and not a season ago or maybe the year prior to get Victor Wembanyama. Here's the rest of the draft lottery. Just so you know, any of those long shot chances, the Spurs have a couple of picks in there, 6% shot. The Rockets and the Blazers, both at 3.8. The Rockets, of course, via the Suns, not because they were the second overall seed in the Western Conference. The Mavs and the Bulls in there as well. The Kings have a chance. If it's top 4, it stays in Sacramento with our guy, Doug Christie. If it's not top 4, it goes to the Atlanta Hawks in that final Spurs selection, courtesy of the Hawks, I believe. I was going to say in the 3-way trade that sent De'Aaron Fox to that sent him to San Antonio. Maybe I'm incorrect in doing so. But the Spurs, with multiple lottery picks for a second consecutive year after drafting Victor Wembanyama first overall in 2023, their franchise looking pretty good. Again, DRS, we don't have odds out just yet on Cooper Flag to be the first overall pick, but he is a generational talent. We assume it would be minus 20,000, something of the sort. He leads a very talented draft class, though, unlike last year. Cooper Flag, a couple of guys from Rutgers, how they didn't make the NCAA tournament this year should be studied in both Dylan Harper, Steve Pikiell.
Yeah, I mean, that guy should have been fired yesterday, by the way. Like, if I'm on the board of regents at Rutgers, you're telling me I have 2 of the top 3 picks in the NBA draft and we stunk all season long? Yeah, that guy would be shown the highway immediately. How about that?
He's been there for a while. He is recruiting in a very good way in Piscataway, New Jersey, as evident by last year. But, yeah, it was a very interesting season for the Scarlet Knights. VJ Edgecombe out of Baylor and Trey Johnson out of Texas, all with sensational freshman seasons in college basketball. But, again, you are hoping to earn the first overall pick tonight, to have Cooper Flag, to have him change your franchise from here on out.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. By the way, if I asked you, Jazz, Wizards, and Hornets, like the chances that neither one of those get that pick or it drops down to like a 2% team, that would be absolutely wild to watch. And by the way, is the reason why we can't have this live because it would take too long, which means, like, let's just say the Sixers ball pops up first. Then they have to go in and remove all of the rest of the Sixer balls in there and then go for number 2. And you can't, do it backwards in a way, which they like to do it. Like, okay, here's the 16, the 15, the 14. You know what I mean?
I think you could probably do like a televised event at like 2 p.m. today from picks 14 through 6 or whatever you want to do. And then the top 4 at the very least do live tonight. At least would be my idea. Yeah. Listen, the NFL is king, right? We're about to have a week basically devoted to the NFL schedule release, and the NBA can't figure out how to make the determination of ping pong balls exciting for at least the top 4 or 5. Come on now. Come on, Adam Silver. Find your way of doing so. So those are the draft odds and the chances, DRS, for tonight's NBA draft lottery. Everybody hoping the ping pong balls bounce their way so they can end up with the first overall selection in Duke's Cooper Flag.
Yeah. And by the way, man, tough scene. Like, you're telling me, Ben, hold on. Wembanyama, then you get the number 1 pick, you get Risa Shea, and then the next year's Cooper Flag.
Yeah, man.
Come on, man. They're just doing franchises dirty right now. Going like, hey, we got number 1. Who did you get? We got Zachary Risa Shea. It's a tough scene, man. I got to tell you. I feel for those fans. I do.
DRS, that's why, like, last year's rookie class in the NBA draft was just like, so sorry. Like, we just had Wemby.
Did we even have an NBA draft show? Did we have an NBA draft show for that horrible draft? We didn't do that, did we? Oh,
we did.
Man, tough scene.
You know, remember what the big story was last year was Bronny James. The Bronny James sweepstakes. Thought he was maybe a round 1 pick. Yeah.
The NBA should put Bronny James in the draft like every year. Like, that would be unbelievable theater. Like, where would he go next and play for? Come on. What an idea. You know?
Drafted? More on the other line.
Yes.
Think that there's something to the fact that they blow all these leads against the Edmonton Oilers? It's like the Oilers can be down 4 goals and they come back like it's nothing.
We got a series now. I think this thing is going to reset, Scott. I think home ice advantage is going to hold true in this series. I think I told you that last week. I'm expecting this. I picked the Kings in 7 before the series started, and it's like plus 700.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
Under him was Sharon Moore, who also participated in the cheating scandal with Connor Stallions. So you know what happens to him? He doesn't lose his job. He doesn't get a 10-year show cause. He gets to keep his job, and they go, we're just going to suspend you for 2 games next season.
Now, all of a sudden, they're coming out with everything that we knew to be pretty much true when it was happening. Yeah, they were cheating. It was like Belichick and the videotapes, right?
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire, only on SportsGrid.
We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. I want this to be the place that people come to. There is going to be an energy to game time decisions that you will feel night in and night out. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune in to Game Time Decisions weekdays on SportsGrid.
A huge Monday night around the association, the NBA Draft Lottery, leading us in to a doubleheader of NBA playoff action. That begins inside Madison Square Garden, and it begins on this Monday morning with the prop perspective and TV Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid Live right here on TEL. In this segment, a look at the NBA playoffs. In our next segment, a look at the Stanley Cup postseason and where things stand around the National Hockey League. Vecchio, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks for being here to start off a new week.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, we have an awesome day of sports ahead. I want to say we're coming off a great day of baseball on Pro Baseball today with myself and Don Johnson over here. It was a great day. I'm not going to say we were perfect. Some things that we missed, but I think we both hit on the pitching props. The hitter parlay came through. Dogs of the day didn't necessarily come through, but it was a really solid show yesterday. I'm ready to roll today.
And your co-host, Tom Vecchio, DRS, Miami Vice, Don Johnson, Donnie Johnson, however you want to refer to him, in that beautiful light-colored coat to bring in the springtime with the hard-hitting question yesterday I heard on Pro Baseball today on Mother's Day. Tom, do you have a mom? That's great content. Wish we could get more of it here all around the Sports Grid Network. All right, let's focus tonight, Vecchio, on game number 4 inside Madison Square Garden. A ton of buzz and excitement in the building on Saturday inside MSG, with the Knicks holding a 2-0 series advantage that quickly dissipated as the Celtics had a 16-point lead after quarter 1 and a 25-point lead after half number 1, and Boston earning victory number 1 in this series. And the tenor feels as though it is completely shifted, despite the Knicks still playing on their home floor tonight and still holding a 2-1 series advantage. Boston tonight in game number 4, 6.5-point favorite. On the road inside the Mecca, total stands at 208.5. How has this series shifted, Vecchio, in your mind, and what does it mean for game number 4?
If I was going to give this like a percentage, I think we're looking at like a 55% chance that the Celtics win the series before tonight's game. If they tie it up, I'm going to jump that all the way up to like 80, 90%. Like, this is a literal must-win game for the Knicks. I really do think so, especially after what we saw, and it's more importantly how the Celtics won. What was the story in the first 2 games? They're not shooting. They're not hitting threes. They're taking a billion threes and they're not shooting. To be specific, over the first 2 games, they were 25 of 100. And the point being is that they were going to see positive regression at some point, right? It may not have happened in a 1-game sample size. It would happen over enough games. And the fact that they got it going in game 3 is obviously a very, very concerning sign for the Knicks. Like, the floodgates have opened for the Celtics offense. So the Knicks need to come away with a win, because if they get that 3rd win tonight, they have enough chances to, okay, they'll lose a game, they'll win a game, whatever it might be over the next few, but they have a chance to like kind of scratch it out. If they lose tonight, I think the Celtics get it done in 6, a full reverse sweep, which is what we spoke about a couple days ago on Friday when I was here. So I think there's a literal must win. And when it comes to a player prop for tonight, I think it has to be Tatum. Go to Tatum over 15.5 rebounds plus assists. I love the fact that we're seeing a ton of rebounds from him, 16, 14, and 9 in the first 3 games. The assists, if everyone's hitting threes around him, the assists will start to pile up. He already had 6, 5, and 7 over the first 3 games. So he can get there on rebounds alone, and people are hitting shots around him, he'll get the assists.
Yeah, really looking forward to that game tonight in the Garden, because it's almost like, that party atmosphere that was around game number 3 you saw dissipated quickly here. Now it's not really going to be that party atmosphere. It's going to be like, oh no, we're losing by 5 or 6 at the end of the first quarter. We're going to blow this 2-0 series lead with home court advantage. We'll see how that plays out in that game with a total that's listed at 208. Game number 2 tonight on the West Coast, Tom. We take a look at the Golden State Warriors and the Minnesota Timberwolves. An uneventful game number 3 per se, but the almighty win went to the Timberwolves. This line opened up as a 5.5-point favorite here at 4 at the FanDuel Sportsbook for the Timberwolves, and a total. How about this? 199.5. Woo! Up to 200.5 live right now. Timberwolves Warriors tonight. Pivotal game number 4.
Yeah, this is also a must-win for the Warriors. There's just not enough consistency, and we spoke about this on BATR on Saturday morning. Okay, Jimmy, great game from him, but who are we going to see step up? Is it going to be Kuminga? Okay, sure. It's going to be Pods. It's going to be Moody. It's going to be Buddy Hield. Are we going to get any offense out of Draymond Green? Like, there's no consistent option for the Warriors without Steph out there. So they need to win this game simply just for the fact that they need to extend the series just to give Steph time to get back out there. Because even if he's not 100%, which I think we'd all agree if he does come back, he won't be 100%. But just the overall, the term that they use in basketball is like the gravity that Steph has to have the opposing defense like assigned to make them mark him. That opens up opportunity for everyone else. So if Steph can get back, he's 75, 80%, what it is, everyone else then has to hit their shots. So this is a must-win game. When it comes to the pace overall, I'm not expecting to be super high. I'm expecting the under to hit. And frankly, I love the fact that I've seen live unders at 182 in some of these recent games. When it comes to the Timberwolves side of things, Julius Randle has been so much better than I anticipated. Do you want to get into the player prop now that I like for the Timberwolves? Should we do this?
Yeah, of course. Come on.
So
go right to it, man.
McDaniels, and just to be clear, I texted Joe Frizo, our producer behind the scenes. I texted him Jaden Daniels, not Jaden Daniels, Jaden McDaniels. Make sure we have that lined up correctly. Under 12.5 points. First game of the series, 12 points for him on 50% shooting on 12 attempts. Second game, 16 points on 70% shooting and 10 attempts. The third game, most recently, 4 of 7 overall, 3 of 4 from deep, and 15 points. His percentage is way too high, 70%. 3 of 4 from downtown. The attempts are falling. The volume of attempts are going to fall. So it's going to be Ant. It's going to be Julius Randle. And then that next group is kind of jumbled where it's a little bit of Naz Reid off the bench. Dante DiVincenzo, NAW, Nikhil Alexander-Walker had a great game in game 2. So there's just not enough consistency in that third grouping of players for me to go to McDaniels when his overall attempts are dropping.
And as Vecchio alluded to, a very limited total tonight as well, 200 and a hook. The Warriors really without Steph Curry for much more than a quarter so far in this series have failed to even get to the century mark in any of our 3 games. 2 of the 3 games, games 1 and 3, have stayed under the pregame number. Vecchio, the odds makers are kind of back on track with the 2 teams we expected to face off in the NBA Finals. OKC plus 130 to win the NBA championship, but tied at 2 all in their series against Denver. Boston trailing in its series and back to a plus 200 price to win the NBA title. Quickly here, are you starting to feel that this is the NBA Finals matchup once again?
It's looking more and more like it, and obviously the best answer is you just bet on the direct outcome. Celtics over Thunder or Thunder over Celtics, whatever you think, if the chalk is going to hit.
Yeah, that plus money is still there. We examined a couple of the spots like Indiana, maybe even Denver, where the value still stands here in the second round. Stanley Cup playoff action. TV Tom next.
The Warriors' future was uncertain. Are they going to break it up? Steve Kerr coming back. They get Jimmy Butler, and they surge all the way through, and now they're through the first round.
The Warriors have guys, because of how special their star 3 trio is, they can make the guys around them better. They can elevate the way that they play. And we saw that. Steph Curry, 3 points in the first half, steps up in the second half, 19 points in the second half to carry them home.
Newswire. Only on SportsGrid.
Malaysia Fawali, who you guys know I am a huge fan, has decided to switch allegiances and stay in league. And now she's going to go play for Kim Mulkey. Her, Flau'jae Johnson in the backcourt. It's going to be interesting to watch. You wonder sometimes with roster construction, maybe too much is not too good.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
I don't know what he was doing taking step-back threes at the end of that regulation when he's got bigs on him and he should be driving to the hole.
It's already bad enough that I'm playing with all these NBA and D1 studs that are unstoppable, and I'm the worst one there, and I can still ball with them. But if I start calling fouls, they'll revoke my privileges. Like, I man up when I play with them.
Pharrell Coast to Coast. Only on SportsGrid.
The 2 guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take.
Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results.
What? How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Live right here on the Early Line on SportsGrid, rounding out our second hour on this Monday. Still a focus on the playoffs, from the association to the Stanley Cup postseason on the ice. TV Tom Vecchio of SportsGrid back for a second consecutive segment. Vecchio, we have 1 series so far in the Stanley Cup playoffs here in round number 2, tied at 2 games apiece. the Toronto Maple Leafs, and the reigning Stanley Cup champions in the Florida Panthers. Florida winning yesterday in Sunrise 2-0. They're back to a -200 favorite to win this second-round series. The Canes, 2-1 lead over the Caps. The Stars, a 5-2 win yesterday against the Jets at home in Dallas, a 2-1 lead for them. Nobody has won on home ice just yet between Edmonton and Las Vegas, a 2-1 series lead for the Oilers. Of these 4 second-round sets, Vecchio, which one is the most compelling and competitive in your mind?
It's got to be Toronto and Florida. It really does, because Maple Leafs win 2-0 on home ice. They have all the momentum. They blow a lead, in Game 3, then they lose in overtime, and they say, okay, they played well enough in Game 3. Yeah, they blew the lead, but they played well enough. They got to win Game 4. They got to win Game 4. They can't have the series tied back up. This momentum that they had is completely gone, and now you're facing this juggernaut of the Panthers back-to-back, going to the Stanley Cup. Won last year, obviously. I'm going to say Game 5 is a literal must-win for the Leafs. There's too much bad juju with them in the playoffs over the last however many years that if they give up the first goal in Game 5, they're going to get blown out, and they will absolutely lose in 6 games.
Do we take a look at the teams left in it with the series that we have? Are there any surprises to you? Because competitive again, 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, and 2-2. So nobody on their way to a sweep. So the extended series are there. But are you surprised with any one of these teams with a series lead and/or a series deficit?
I got to say it's the Hurricanes. This is a team I spoke about. I said, I'm kind of lukewarm on them. They look good. Maybe they don't. I have my doubts about them. But they are controlling the pace against the Capitals so unbelievably well. And a lot of people are saying, this is such an ugly series. It's just so uneventful. It's not as exciting to watch as these other series, which are just so much better. And when it comes to the series, I think the way we have to look at it is that the Hurricanes are actually a better team. And I was wrong about them. I still have my doubts about them, but they are so much better than the Capitals. And I think this is the spot where they just go for the throat tonight. So let's go to the Capitals goalie, Logan Thompson, over 26.5 saves. When we look at the total shot attempts in this series, the Canes are up at 256 total shot attempts. The Capitals are at 133. They have over 100 more shot attempts than the Capitals. The Canes are controlling everything. This is their series to lose. They're going to win. They're going to advance.
Even in that Game 2 win for the Caps in D.C., Carolina still really in possession of the puck far more often and had the better scoring looks at it. Vecchio, all 3 games of this series so far between the Hurricanes and the Capitals have stayed under. Tonight's total 5.5 in Raleigh, and a very hefty money line price on Carolina at -260. Let's get to our nightcap tonight in our doubleheader on the ice up in Edmonton. The Oilers, a slight home ice favorite, -132 against Vegas. Very different story in terms of the offensive output in this set. Total tonight for a Stanley Cup playoff game, 6.5, and the over has the juice at -140. What are we going to see in Game 4 tonight in Edmonton?
I want to take the under. As you said, it's 6.5. I want to take the under in a Stanley Cup game when both of these teams have clearly been struggling on defense. There has to be some coaching change, some effort put forth by the players. Okay, we can't be doing this. We can't be giving up 3, 4, 5 goals a game. As we saw in the first series with Edmonton and the Kings, we can't be having that. We have to have a concerted effort to play better on defense. However, I'm not willing to bet the under in this series just because there's too much offensive talent. So I don't know where the total falls in this game. I will say, I rarely go to goal scorers in the playoffs just because it's so random. We don't have a level of consistency that we can really trust. Leon Draisaitl is +100 for a goal. I don't love the odds, but I think he will make amends for the own goal that he caused them to lose Game 3 at 0.4 seconds. It's +100. Shop for the best lines available. Wherever you can get it there.
0.4 seconds, the winner for Vegas on Saturday night. The Golden Knights etching out their first win in this series with a 4-3 win in Edmonton. The Oilers won both games on the Strip in Sin City. Will somebody win on home ice? Edmonton, an ever so slight favorite to do that tonight. Here are the Stanley Cup odds, just so we update them for you as we enter our doubleheader of Game 4 action on this Monday. The Stars, 2-1 series lead over the Jets, +330. The Canes, 2-1 series lead over the Caps, +370. The Oilers looking to take a commanding 3-1 series advantage tonight at +390. TV, Tom Vecchio. We appreciate the time as always. Thank you for that prompt perspective on this Monday. Our third and final hour comes away up next.